Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nights with Nicci. Tonight we're going to start things off a little different. We're going to spend a little bit of time exploring some of the other possibilities in some of these cases that we have been consumed with in the media. It is crazy, y'all. Now, I'm going to come on camera in a minute, and of course, I have my soror Lauren, and she is going to help us unpack and digest some of what is happening today. It's been everybody all over the internet has been talking about this, and it has been consuming all of our lives. And honestly, if I'm real about it, I think that this might just be where the cultural divide begins. I think this could possibly be where people of color, Black folk, are going to be forced to make a decision. And I was having a conversation today. I wanted to start off today's show a little different. I am going to come up on camera in a second here, but I just wanted to try this a little different this time because what I have to say, I really think it's important for people to listen to and to hone in on, right? And I think sometimes when, you're paying attention to the person who's delivering the message, you may not really get the message as much as you could or should. So I actually am going to start the shows off from time to time when it's a very serious subject matter with a bit of an op-ed. I am a writer by heart. I love storytelling. If you cannot tell, I am a little long-winded. So I do enjoy telling stories. But I also like to be a part of a different perspective, right? And just kind of separating myself from the fray a little bit. So I'm going to jump up on camera. I got a couple cool little surprises for you guys tonight. Please make sure that if you're coming in and you're watching on WIRF, WIRF, that is Women in Reality Film and TV YouTube channel, please do me the honors, the favor of hitting the like button as you come in. It would mean the world to me if you would do that. And so I just want to kind of, Lauren is on the line, so Lauren will definitely be here with an update. We're unpacking some really serious issues, guys. So welcome to Nights with Nicci. And like I said, I'm going to kick things off on some shows with a little bit of an op-ed. And this is just some food for thought. This is just something for us to think about. Welcome to Nights with Nicci, y'all. This is something for us to think about as we unpack what is going on, right? So the subject of tonight's episode is accountability or agenda. The fall of Black male icons demands a deeper conversation. They call it a tsunami, SUENAMI, a tidal wave of accusations, lawsuits, exposés, and criminal indictments sweeping through the upper echelons of Black entertainment and sports. From music moguls to media kings, the names being dragged into the headlines today aren't just celebrities, they're institutions, and now they're being dismantled. Diddy, now this is really crazy, Tyler Perry, and Shannon Sharpe. These are not just famous men. They are brand builders, gatekeepers, and in many cases, first of their kind trailblazers. But one by one, they're being taken to task. Some by legal systems, others by public opinion, and still others are forming allies who've decided that silence is no longer an option. So the question isn't whether the allegations deserve scrutiny. They do. The real question is, are we witnessing long overdue accountability? Or are Black men in power being strategically dismantled in the name of justice? This is about power. This is about privilege and predation, baby. Let's be clear. This isn't about defending the indefensible. It is really serious. And if the accusations are true, Some of these men engaged in manipulative, coercive, even criminal behavior. The women and the men that are coming forward are not just disgruntled employees or opportunists. They are people. They are survivors, people whose pain deserves space, truth, and consequences. But we also have to examine the pattern. And there is indeed a pattern. Why are these accusations surfacing now, all at once, and disproportionately targeting Black men with visibility, with ownership, and billion-dollar industries? Why does it feel like this is just as these men have reached the heights of influence, of power, owning networks, shaping narratives, steering cultural tides, the floor has suddenly given out beneath them? And why is the system so swift, so public, and so absolute in the punishment of these men, while countless white executives, financiers, producers remain shielded by PR firms, NDAs, and golden parachutes, baby? Tyler Perry, is he a cultural savior or a convenient scapegoat? He built his first major Black-owned studio, the first major Black-owned film studio in American history. He gave us space, a platform, a voice, but now he's facing a $260 million lawsuit accusing him of sexual harassment, assault, and workplace retaliation. Could these allegations be true? Abso-freaking-lutely. But could it also be true that Perry, like many powerful men, Black in particular, have made enemies, cut deals, and perhaps underestimated the dangers of unchecked power? Again, that is absolutely true as well, or possible as well. But ask yourself, if Perry were running a studio under a different name, Warner Brothers, NBC Universal, would this takedown be as swift and this loud? Let's talk about Diddy. The stories about Diddy, wild party, sexual excess, manipulation, these things have lingered and whispered in the industry for years, but it took one woman, Cassie, to open the floodgates. Now the federal government is involved. A judge has issued gag orders. There are videos, there are witnesses, there are sex workers, and celebrity testimonies are all flooding into this courtroom. Was Diddy living recklessly? It seems likely, right? Based on what you see in video. But when does indulgence turn into indictment? When does freaky become felonious? And why did the system protect him until now? And only now did they decide to act. Our brother Shannon Sharpe. She told brother Shay Shay, Monique told brother Shay Shay. There's Shannon Sharpe, just months ago. He warned us, Monique warned us, and Cat Williams warned us on Club Shay Shay. A reckoning was coming, a tsunami. Now, he's been hit with a $50 million civil rape lawsuit. The timing is chilling. The message, be careful what you predict. This double standard we cannot ignore. So tonight we're going to have a hard conversation, because white men in Hollywood have done this and worse for a very long time, and there is far less consequence. For every Bill Cosby, for every R. Kelly, there's a Harvey Weinstein, there's a Kevin Spacey, there's so many others. And the difference is that Black men are being thrown out of the building, while white men are often quietly escorted through the side exit with their money, their legacy, and their networks intact. This isn't about guilt or innocence. This is about equity and justice, something that I believe in wholeheartedly, and the disproportionate ways accountability is enforced across race lines. What is the path forward, y'all? This is a cultural crossroads. This is, by all means, a cultural crossroads. We can either weaponize these stories as part of the media spectacle and satisfy our thirst for a downfall, or we can use this moment to truly address the toxic power structures that made this mess possible. Yes, hold these men accountable if they did it, Black, white, Puerto Rican, or otherwise, but also interrogate the system that enabled them, shielded them, and now exploits their downfall for views, headlines, and retribution. Let's create a culture of justice, not just punishment, one of healing and not just humiliation, one of truth and not just tabloid. But if this fall of our icons, if this is really the fall of our icons, we better make sure that it's not just us sitting there watching the collapse of men, but the collapse of a system built on silence, fear, and power unchecked. I am your girl, Dr. Nicci Gilbert Daniels. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Nights with Nicci is back again. I'm going to play a clip from my Tory Hart interview, which was absolutely fabulous. And then we'll be right back live, up close and in person in just about 5 minutes. You are watching Nights with Nicci. And please, y'all, do me a favor. Hold on. Do me a favor. I'm about to stop my music because y'all know what? I need y'all to do me a favor and go on and hit that like button. All right. This is the interview I did with Tory Hart. You can catch this interview on her channel, Brutally Honest Podcast. Y'all, it's juicy, and y'all should definitely check it out. And don't don't forget to check out that Cash app and hit the subscribe button. I'll be right back after this clip with my soror Lauren, and we are going to catch up on the latest. As it stands now, judges can determine, I don't see any similarities there, right? That is supposed to be left for juries to decide, right? They are real triers of fact.
Well, in your defense, I can understand that, but ain't no walking in with a briefcase. Okay.
Right. Yeah, no, we sat down and met with, the meeting was set up by a lawyer friend of the CEO. So it's like, there's no, and they're not even, here's the thing. They're not even challenging the fact that I met with them. What they're saying is that my character is gay. He's a gay man. And Uncle Clifford is non-binary. Now, when I wrote this in 2004, non-binary was not a word that it existed in the dictionary, but it wasn't one we used to describe people, right? So, you only mentioned the casino 2 or 3 times in your play, but it's mentioned multiple times in P-Valley. My play was 2 hours. P-Valley was an 8 to 10 episode series. So these are the actual reasons why they were like, yeah, no, gay is not the same thing as non-binary. No. Gay means that you're a man who sleeps with another man. Both of them inherited the club from a loved one. Both of them, like I said, homophobic antagonists who wants to take it over. As it stands now, judges can determine, that you're a man who sleeps with another man. Both of them inherited the club from a loved one. Both of them, like I said, homophobic antagonists who wants to take it over specifically to build a casino. That gentrification happened in Detroit, where I'm from in real life. I don't know where Katori got her ideas from, but I have a pretty good idea. And I'd love the opportunity to just ask the questions. It's not even about, listen, if a jury finds me, finds that I'm wrong, and 12 people, actually, I think we only need 6, half of them, or maybe 7, determine that, there's nothing to see here, then that's different. But to be denied the opportunity to actually go to court after spending 5 years, and the icing on the cake is the fact that to really sock it to me and to discourage other plaintiffs from pursuing this kind of thing, he ruled in favor of the defendants getting $1 million in legal fees.
So you have to pay?
Well, I ain't got it.
Okay.
Like my girl Tasha K say, I ain't got it. I ain't got it. And that's just what it is. But the fact that, I dared to inquire about the materials I left with Lionsgate looking substantially similar in my eyes. And in the experts' eyes, the experts said without a doubt, no question, P-Valley could not have been created without Soul Kittens Cabaret. And they threw it out. Not because he wasn't qualified. But because he agreed with what I saw. And he only repeated what I said, which should have made it stronger. But
that's why I'm wondering, like, if the expert is saying without a shadow of a doubt that it's your project, then why do you even have to pay these legal fees? Or, I mean, even though
that's why we're going to the Supreme Court. We're going to the Supreme Court to find out. A writ of certiorari means to find out, to know for certain, right? You've had probably thousands of cases very similar to mine. In fact, a couple of my defendants, one of them I will say, went before the same judge for the same reason in another case. And he stuck them with legal fees and they lost.
Lionsgate?
No, it wasn't Lionsgate.
Okay.
It was one of the producers, one of the executive producers of I think I could say it, Shannon. Yeah, it was, it's interesting because when you look at who the producers are on P-Valley and who the people are who are taking credit for telling a story like this, who the people who were in power and making the big decisions. A lot of people thought it was Katori making the decisions, but what I discovered, we did discovery. I can't talk about it. They redacted it, right? Which is crazy to me. If you're telling the truth, then let the shit be what it is and let the people see what you said, right? But they're protected from that. So they don't have to show the world what happened in deposition. But I do know that there were a lot of people who don't look like us, a lot of older white men, a lot of young white women who produced this series that has become such a cultural phenomenon for our community. So for people to just immediately assume that my beef is with Katori, I don't have no beef with Katori. I just want Katori to tell the truth, shame the devil.
Do you think that, I mean, does she even maybe know? I mean, because you're saying you have no beef with her, but maybe, you know, she had a similar idea. And since she got a deal, they kind of like took little bits and pieces from it and put it together with hers. And at the time, she had no clue. And she's learning about all of this in real time.
Could that be a possibility? I could respect that. And that could definitely be a possibility. And that's why I want to go to trial.
Okay.
Right. That if I'm Katori, if I'm not even, let me not just keep throwing her name out there like that.
Right.
If I'm Nicci,
right.
And Tori says,
I know, because I keep hearing Katori,
you know what I'm
like,
saying? No, I'm sorry. Right. If I'm Nicci,
okay,
right. And someone says that I took something that, you know, is substantially similar to something that they created.
Right.
I want to go to trial. I want, you know, 12 people to look at this and make a determination. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because when we fight for ownership, which is what this was about, everybody assumes that this is about clout. This is about attention. Who does this for attention? Who risks all their shit for attention? This is not what this is about. This is about ownership. This is about the fact that when I went in and I pitched this to Lionsgate, I pitched a partnership ownership licensing scenario. Meaning I would be able to, like in the Ryan Coogler's case of Sinners, like Tyler Perry, who has been able to build a studio and really sustain, you know, build something really sustainable here in Georgia. As black women, we deserve those opportunities to own our shit too. Right. So when you go in and you say, hey, listen, I got the money and I got the real money. I got the same money Tyler Perry brought to the table. And that is the reason they took the meeting. And I would love for you to partner with me on this so that I can retain some partnership and ownership interest in this so that I can create generational wealth and wellness for my community. Right. And for my family. Right. And it's just easier to find somebody else to do it, especially when they don't know better.
That's what I was going to, you know, say. Maybe it's because they're like, okay, she's too bright. We can't, because, you know, what they say is they like them dumb so they can take full advantage.
I'm not saying, I mean, she won a Pulitzer, so I don't know that she's dumb, but I know that she may have been a little naive when it, right. Well, you know, people are naive when it comes to certain stuff because it's kept from us, right? Like the woman who interviewed Ryan Coogler, when she mentioned, oh, wow, you have this amazing deal. That's unheard of. He's like, no, these happen all the time. They just don't always happen with us. Right. So a lot of times we're unaware the power is in the ownership, right? It took me a long time to learn that. Right. And when I went in and I pitched, hey, listen, let's become partners in this. And, you know, no shade, but at the end of the day, they 2 seasons in after 5 years, I would be on season 8. Right. Because it came from here and from here. Right. And I do this shit in real life. Whoop, whoop. What is up, beautiful people? What is up, beautiful people? I want to welcome y'all once again to this episode of Nights with Who? Nights with Nicci. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. I know it's a whole lot of places that y'all could be tonight, and I'm just really grateful that you guys are here with me and my soror Lauren. And we've got another very special guest who is going to chime in and share his perspective on all of the debauchery that's going on out here in these streets. Do me a humongous favor, if you will, please, if you are watching from YouTube, when you come into the space, when you come into the room, come on in the room. When you come in here, please hit the like button and please make sure that you share this with your folks. I'm sorry, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. So my LinkedIn people, I'm not able to be live from LinkedIn at this very moment, but hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everyone. Tonight, we are going to get into a very serious conversation, and I hope that y'all are ready for it. Trigger warning. You might be triggered throughout this whole conversation. It is a lot. So before I get too deep into the weeds of all of this, I am going to bring up my Sarah. Nah, Sarah, are you there? Uh-oh, she may be frozen. Okay, let me... Hold on. Okay, she may be frozen. Let me text her and let her know that she might be froze. She might be froze. I'm going to bump her out and have her come back in. But yeah, guys, I have seen that the whole world is talking about this Tyler Perry thing. And they baby mama. Okay, here we go. We're answering again. Let's see if we can get L Boogie back in here. There she is. Hello. I cannot hear you. You are muted. Hold on. Let's see if I can get you unmuted. Hold on 1 second. I can't hear you. Hold on. I can't hear you, baby. Let's see. Why can't I hear her? Why can't I hear her? She is muted. You are muted. Why are you muted for this thing? Hold on. This is not very good. You were not muted before. Something is happening here, you guys. We're going to get this right. You're not on mute on your phone? No? Hello? Speak?
Oh, okay. Boom.
There she is.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Hey, people. What's going on? Happy Wednesday. Tomorrow's Juneteenth, in case y'all didn't know. Go out and celebrate. Okay. Juneteenth. Okay. The emancipation of the Negroes in America. All right.
You better know it. So, Soror, you have had an opportunity to do some research. So I'm going to pass the mic over to you. Hey, Mons, I see you. I'm going to pass the mic over to you so you can bring us up to speed on the latest and the not so greatest out here in these entertainment industry streets.
Yeah, so I took some notes today because it was a lot going on. So let's start with what's going on with the Diddy trial. So one of the jurors, according to the Washington Post, got sick today. So the judge had to adjourn for the day, and then tomorrow is Juneteenth, so they won't be back in court until after the holiday. I believe they said in the report it says it's going to take Friday off too, so they'll be back next week. The person who was supposed to testify today is Brendan Paul, who is a former basketball player at Syracuse. He worked for Diddy, and he is the last witness for the prosecution. He is also involved in 3 civil lawsuits that have been filed against Mr. Combs as well. And then he was arrested. Paul was arrested for drug charges, but his charges were dropped in exchange for his testimony, which is something that if anybody has ever watched Law and Order, any type of law show with cops, they always, they want they get the small fish to get them up to the bigger fish. It's on all the shows. It's on BMF. It's on everything. So it's on, Power, I'm sure, even though I ain't never seen the episode, but I'm pretty sure they use that same tactic. So once they get done with Paul's testimony, which should be early next week, the prosecution will rest, and then the defense will begin to call their witnesses. According to the Washington Post, the defense does not have a lot of witnesses, so we could be maybe seeing this case being wrapped up sometime in July.
Okay, so let me ask this. They're saying that the defense does not have a lot of witnesses. So I guess, and this is really a good question. Shout out to my sister Pam, the Law Intellect. If you guys are not following Pam, the Law Intellect, you absolutely should be, because she's one of the smartest, brightest bulbs in the room. But my question is, do we think that Diddy is actually going to take the stand? If Diddy took the stand, do you believe that he would redeem himself to some degree or make it worse?
That's a good question. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure because of reporting that has been done throughout the trial. It has been stated that he has not been able to keep his emotions in check. So if he were to take the stand in his own defense, I am not 100% sure that he would be able to keep his emotions in check to get through questions by the prosecution, because when they are when you are being cross-examined by the other side, they're asking you questions to make you lose your cool. And because it's already been displays of him losing his cool with other people on the witness stand, I'm not sure if it's such a good idea for his defense to put him on the stand. So that's a good question. I don't know, because I don't know if he'll be able to keep his cool at this point, with everything that's happened so far in the trial. So
I think it's Queen Sheba, darling. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I was looking for a clip. I told you guys I've been following Queen Sheba SA. I follow everybody. I follow all of them. I think it's good to get your information from a few different places. But I am trying to, let me go to her page because she actually was there and she did a short from the courtroom today. Yes. Okay. Is this the one? Okay, she's got an update. Here we go. Because a juror is sick. And finally, the defense has showed up to fight today. I think they're locked, they're loaded, they are ready to go. They're actually contesting and pushing back and issuing a concern with the juror's health. So they're going to inquire a little bit more about that with the juror. The judge is going to question the juror because I get it. What exactly could be going on with you that you just decide that you're sick today and you're going to take the day off? That's the first thing. The second thing that the defense has done is they've declared or asked the judge to declare an exhibit that the government introduced as inadmissible, because what the government has tried to establish from assumption is that D-Rock was running drugs for Diddy, but they can't prove that the name, they can't prove that. They're just assuming based on historical behavioral patterns throughout what they're calling the enterprise, that when D-Rock was texting somebody by the name of One Stop, it had to be about drugs, right? So what the government is trying to do, or what the judge is asking them to do, is to provide more foundational proof. That makes sense. A hunch or an assumption. And it's also asking them, can you decode the language to actually qualify that this was a drug transaction that was happening between the communication of the two parties, D-Rock and One Stop. Wow. So this is really interesting. It just feels really it feels like it's kind of one of them things where you don't know. Everybody has an opinion. So talking about the subject, just to refresh everyone's memory, we are asking all of you out there in La La Land joining us for Nights with Nicci, what do you think? Because we've been listening to this case. We've noticed that, I've noticed that a lot of the things that they talked about when we heard about this first happening, and like all the force that they used to actually come to his house, all of the force. I mean, it was military trucks. It was like all sorts of stuff. And I'm waiting, and maybe because I'm not there, which is why I like to, play video of or content from people who are there. But I'm just waiting to find out like when we're going to see the stuff that made them bring all of those tanks and all of those cops and all of that stuff, right? Because I just don't see it. And again, disclaimer, I am not there. What I have seen and what I have heard is a lot of really freaky behavior. I have seen and heard about egregious behavior. I have heard about freak off parties that allegedly these parties were happening for years. And don't quote me, but somebody said that Jane Doe was actually doing freak offs before Diddy, allegedly. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. All of this is absolutely I need to get the alleged button. But somebody said she was doing them before Diddy. And I think it was Queen Sheba Darling who said, I think she said something like Diddy wasn't the top guy. You know what I mean? So if you were here when I did my opening, if you're not, hopefully you go back and you read my op-ed or you listen to my op-ed. You can also read it on my Substack. Hello, Nicci Gilbert on Substack. I spoke a little bit about how we know that Diddy, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, these men we don't know about Tyler yet because this is very, very early. And I don't want to group him into a group of people who we got a pretty good idea that we've seen proof that they have done horrible things, right? With Tyler so far, all I have heard regarding Tyler, which we're going to get into when we start talking about his story, but all I've heard so far is that it sounds to me like it's more of an invasion of privacy. Not an invasion of privacy. That's the wrong way to say it. Sounds to me like these are more like intimate text messages and things that have been shared with the public for purposes of like identifying, you know, what his sexual preferences are and whatever. Now, again, like we said on our episode last night, we are not condoning egregious behavior. We stand with victims, but we still don't know with Tyler yet. So we're going to get into that. But with Diddy, we saw the tape of him being abusive with Cassie, and it was horrible. But is that enough? Is just the whole tape at the hotel enough for Diddy to be convicted of a life sentence in prison, which is RICO and a bunch of other stuff? So, Soror, why don't you help me break that down? What are you hearing on the streets from people?
Well, it's kind of like a twofold thing. Like because the whole thing with Cassie and that, you know, horrific video of her getting assaulted at the hotel by the elevator, like people are saying like, okay, she's already, you know, settled that out of court, whatever it was that she filed, he just paid it because he knew that he was in the wrong. And he came out and publicly apologized for his actions in that video, stating that he was indeed wrong for doing that and it never should have happened. And, you know, he let his temper get the best of him, blah, 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 blah. So some people are like, because that case or that suit itself has already been resolved, it shouldn't necessarily been brought up in this situation because it's already, you know, by the court, it was settled. But because the prosecution
settled for 20+ million. Matter of fact, I mean, you can't put a price on somebody's mental health, but 30 million total she got, which is,
it was a lot. And some people are like, that's not, you know, it's an indication of a pattern with him over the years, you know. And a lot of people are saying like, okay, Cassie is just the public face of what he's been doing for decades. You know, now like when the trial started, all of this stuff resurfaced about Kim Porter and like, you know, the mysterious clouds surrounding her passing, and, you know, these conspiracy theories about Biggie and about Tupac and all of this stuff from the 90s. And it's just a lot of things that have come out that, you know, most of it can't be substantiated either way, but it's just they don't look good for his reputation. And, you know, saying that, oh, he's this upstanding citizen, but it's been proven that he actually isn't. So it's kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, whether or not he's an upstanding citizen, even a man who commits domestic violence, whether he is the worst possible, you know, character, you know, in the movie. You know what I mean? He is still on trial for a bunch of stuff that I think the public does not understand. So it leads me to question. And if you guys are just coming in, please do me the kind favor. We are right now talking about Diddy, and we are talking about whether or not Diddy is a serious, vicious, hardcore freak or a serious, vicious, hardcore felon. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe as well. And thank y'all for joining us. But I have to say, I don't see this trail of things that would put him in prison for life. I do hear people, and we're going to get to some questions and commentary from the audience. I think our boy's coming in here. Yes, he is. Hold tight, baby. I got you in the green room, brother. I got you in the green room. So I do hear a lot of people talking about, the Tupac thing. Shout out to Pac. Rest in peace. That was my guy. I hear people talking about the Tupac thing. I hear people talking about the Kim Porter thing. Like I always say, I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. But I just, that is not what he's on trial for right now, unless it comes up. Like, that is not one of the issues that the government is after him for. It is about sex trafficking and, I shouldn't have said that word, but it's just a whole bunch of things that I think we still have to see more evidence of. And my question is, if we're not clear, because a jury is supposed to be the average everyday person, right? If we're not clear on what is happening in this case, and we haven't seen a direct sort of, got him. Although people in the courtroom, Tisa Tells and who else? I watch Make It Mix. I watch everybody. I watch all of them. And they're all saying 1 minute it's like they got him and the next minute it's like they don't got him. So it is a little confusing, you guys. Thank y'all for coming in here. Please make sure y'all hit the like and share and subscribe button. Hello, XO Hattie Wanger. I like it. Okay, first of all, wait, shout out. Let me, hold on. Firebomb. Thank you very much. He says, I'm sorry, I don't know. They say, we're going to call everybody a they, because we don't know if you're a man or a woman, because I don't see your Avi. But yes to back-to-back consistency. Yes. Hold on. We got to get some love for the back-to-back consistency. Yes, indeed. Yes. I am going to learn this YouTube thing if it's the last thing I do. Okay. Right here. Firebomb also says cute earrings on Lauren. Whoop, whoop. Always. Okay. So let's get into some of this Diddy conversation. The incident at the hotel was presented to show his criminal intent. Will Diddy get convicted on all charges? I doubt it. I think that the prosecution has proven coercion I think the prosecution has proven coercion beyond a reasonable doubt. It wasn't only his acts on video with Cassie, but the extent Diddy went to cover it up. Wow. I have to say. And Lamar says it's definitely confusing. I would have to agree. Well, listen, guys, we're going to keep this Diddy train going, but I have got to add my brother from another mother. What up, though, Big Meech? I said, what up, though? Oh, God. Oh, you in the car. You're driving. Oh, no.
What's up, baby? What is up?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to need you to keep your eyes on the road. You do not have, because I'm tempted to boot you off this damn thing, because I can't have, you got big things popping. You got a whole bunch. You guys, I'm going to have Meech, if he has the opportunity, explain some of the terrific stuff that he's doing right now. But these are two of my Detroit's finest, and I cannot wait to hear your feedback on this. So Meech, talk to us, baby.
Yeah. Listen, I was talking about this to my coworkers because I'm leaving work. Life is life, and I'm in the car because my co-host on my show was at getting his mani and pedi together. They scraped his feet, hit a blood vessel, blood everywhere. He at the hospital. I got to go run to pick up his son from work. Yeah, okay. But here's what this is for me. Right now, they're trying to pull a RICO case what we have is an assassination of.
Hold on, you guys. Okay, Meech is, first of all, let me text him and tell him that he is going to have to, hold on. I don't like the idea of him driving and, oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Meech, how far are you from home? Or were you're going someplace else?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I'm good.
I don't know if somebody said that they might frown upon me on YouTube with you driving, but I've seen people in the car before doing this. Okay, go ahead. Let me let you go for it, baby.
Okay. Right now, like I'm saying, they want to pull a RICO, honey, but what we have is just sex crimes and domestic violence. All right. I don't hear nothing about drugs. I don't hear nothing about excursion. All this other stuff that's supposed to go with the RICO case. And I am not following it. I'm not even paying attention to it the way everybody else is, because as far as I'm concerned, I've been saying this for the longest time. Right now, they're trying to neutralize this man. I've been putting it this way. When he was Bad Boy Records, that's fine because everybody was making money. All right? White man, everybody make money. He became Sean John and had the clothing line and all that. That's cute, you know. We got the hood children that carrying on. We got the drug children. That was the exclusive thing because those who got money was going to be able to afford it, right? When you partner with Ciroc, this is where the game changed because now you are a household name. Because I could go get a $2 shot of Ciroc and still be in the game. You know what I'm saying? So now you are building your power base off of something that is accessible to everybody. And now that you're so accessible, now your power base started to build. Then he got to a point where he thought he was one of them. Now that he was in dispute with Ciroc or whatever that was, because I don't know all the particulars, we just know a big ass dispute that came. Right at that dispute, now all of a sudden, they went to go neutralize him. Why? Because you thought you was one of them. You got all this little power, whatever. You think you're one of them. One of the things about white supremacy is this. It is supreme. I don't mind you having. You just can't have what I got. Okay? So if I'm way up here at the top, yeah, you can have. But as soon as I see you start to get up there close to me, either I'm going to knock you down, but if you got mouth and attitude, then I got to take and neutralize you. It's not about knocking you down at that particular point. It is about neutralizing you so that you don't have enough balls to try to do it again. Right now, this is what we got. We have, look at what they did just with him. Look at what they did with R. Kelly. Look at what they did to Bill Cosby. They went for total neutral. They went to neutralize them. They, how in the hell are we doing the same thing with Smokey Robinson? Smokey, 85 years old, after all this time. Now you want to go after Smokey Robinson talking about he sexually assaulted a girl if y'all don't stop. Why? Every time someone has got to a certain particular plateau where they're making moves, where it is now about generational wealth, it is about building a conglomerate of some sort to where black economic power is on the rise. They come in to find something, whatever. This thing with Diddy, with Tyler, this here is all of that. It is all of that. Because you got to find a way to make it accessible to get to these folks. How do you do it? You go after the money. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, when I tell you, you said a mouthful. And it's interesting because I kind of touched on that on my op-ed, which if you're just coming into the chat, you will be able to see the replay of that. And it is also on my Substack. And that is the reason why the title of this episode is whether or not there is an agenda. And we hear it all the time. But I'm going to ask you, Lauren, because you have been studying entertainment, black entertainment in particular, specifically as it relates to women and what is happening with women in entertainment right now. What are your thoughts on whether or not this is indeed the system punishing people for speaking up, or if that is just the go-to for our community when black people get out of hand and out of control? Like, there's a very fine line between this actually being a real thing, where you are punished for speaking truth to power, and where you leverage or use that as an opportunity to gain favor in our community. What do you think about it?
So, in general, when
I'm sorry. Hold on one second, Lauren. How do I? Can I mute? Let me see. Can I mute Meech? I'm trying to figure out how to mute you, Meech, because you're. Hold on. Meech, if you can mute your phone, I'm not asking. I don't want you to do too much because but if you can mute your phone, because we can hear your stuff in the background while she's speaking. All right, go ahead, Lauren.
in general, like women in period are not believed for the most part of anything. Now, when it comes to like black women and black entertainment and all that, specifically, we are not heard. That's part of the reason why you've had so many of our heroes in the entertainment industry, like Bill Cosby, who is the perfect example of, all of his deeds that he did, while a lot of them, when it all really came to light, was past the statute of limitations. And so there was nothing that could be done except for two cases when it was really like 20 something people. But there, on the other side of the coin, there are, white men that have had these types of things that have, and black men too, that has never really been brought to light. I watched this documentary series about the Playboy as a conglomerate. Now, what I'm about to say was in the docu series.
Hold on. You watched whose docu series about the Playboy?
It was the secrets of Playboy. So I believe it was on like A&E or something like that. But essentially, they had all of these like former Playboy bunnies and people that used to go to the Playboy mansion. Everybody heard about these parties that happened at the mansion and what was going on in the grotto. Now, some of these former Playboy bunnies, when the Playboy first established, it really was the magazine, and then it turned into like this club thing where they had the bunny costume, where they were cocktail waitresses, and that's how they were making their money during the 60s, during the 70s, when it was just like, women, liberal movement for women, wanting their own independence, being able to make their own money, that type of thing. So it started off innocent. That's how it started, but that's not what it turned into. So, these women talked about in this documentary, it's like 8 parts maybe, about how like Hugh Hefner had these video cameras literally everywhere in that house. So he was always taping what was going on. It was a control room that had maybe like 20 monitors in it. They showed some pictures of it. It was like maybe 20, maybe 25 monitors in it that had every room, cameras in the pool, all of that stuff. So he was always recording what was going on. There were incidences of people who are legends in the Black community that were professional athletes turned into actors that had knocked down brawls with women at this place, at the Playboy Bunny mansion, that were never brought to justice because these women were afraid for their lives. Because of how things have been set up in this country, it's always been hard for women. Okay? Period. It's always been hard for women. It's always harder for women of color because when our white counterparts get their just due, we don't necessarily get our just due at the same time. It comes years, decades later. So it's like they've had this adjustment period that we still have to make the adjustments on. I think in this particular case, with Diddy, is that the chickens are coming home to roost, so to speak. Like somebody said in the comments, yes, the whole video with Cassie was used to establish intent, that he has that criminality in him to do those things to somebody, which typically means if he did it to her, he's probably done it to other people that may have been too afraid to come forward. I salute Cassie because she became dependent when she first came out with that song. It was just like that song was everywhere. And she started off with Ryan Leslie. She wasn't even with Diddy at first. And Diddy was like, oh, I need her. And then she became codependent on him because she couldn't do anything without him because he was essentially controlling her. And
but okay, so let me jump in here real quick. And this is a question that keeps coming up. I totally I feel like, and it's interesting because Lamar says it is definitely confusing. So what's confusing about this for me, and I'm an advocate against domestic, we all are, if you're honest. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. But what's confusing is, how does everything you just said about he met her when she was young, the domestic violence, the issue at the hotel, how does that turn into a life sentence when there are women all over the world every single solitary day who are victims of domestic violence, victims of sexual assault, victims of, and I get that the media, and thank you guys for coming in just to reset. Matter of fact, let me reset the room for a second. If you are joining us tonight, if you are hanging out with us tonight, we are talking about the fall of the icons, whether it is an athlete, whether it is a media mogul, whether it is a music producer. It looks like everywhere we turn, everywhere we look, Black men in particular are falling. They are falling hard. And whether or not they can recover from this, we're going to get into a little bit later. But we are talking about the fall of icons. I understand that there are a lot of people out here in YouTube and all over mainstream media, legacy media, that are eating off of this travesty, right? But I challenge those people to really dig a little deeper and ask the question whether or not what is happening with these men, these powerful, wealthy, successful men who, ironically, it's like you get to a certain height and boy, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. They made that up for a reason. But whether or not there is a serious pattern that we need to look at, whether the industry is going after people that they know have these, issues, because a lot of this seems to be like stuff going on in here and all in your spirit, right? Whether or not corporations and people who hold the purse strings are amplifying the voices of people that they know they got some shit on just so that they can keep them under control, or if they're just as shocked and dismayed and in awe of the actions of these people as we are. So I want to try to wrap the Diddy portion of this up. I do know that they are not going to court tomorrow because it is Juneteenth. Whoop, whoop. In fact, tomorrow will either be an extra late show or tomorrow may not be a show because some really cool things going on that I have to tend to. But they're not in court. I think they may have a short day on Friday, but they go into the defense having an opportunity to present their witnesses. Do either of you, I asked you, Lauren, I'm asking you now, Meech, and Lauren, if you could mute your phone. Do you think that Diddy should test Meech?
Do I think he should testify? No.
Yes. Why
I
not?
don't think he should, because at this particular point, what can he say that is going to be believable to a jury? And I know that they're supposed to be impartial, but he tore that down when he went up there and did a little half-ass apology about that tape. When he stood up there and tried to apologize about whooping Cassie's ass on that tape and gave us, oh my God, my actions, that was insincere, and it sounded like it was a damn ploy. So at this particular point, I know you're fighting for your life, but baby doll, uh-uh. Let them prove it. Why do you need to open up your mouth? Let them prove it. Prove me wrong. Because at this particular stage of the game, anything and everything will be used against you. And all they got to do is get him up there on a cross exam and blow his ass to smithereens. Shut his mouth.
So you don't think that it's possible that he could get up there and say, okay, I'm just throwing this out here, y'all. This is not, I'm trying to remain objective and neutral here. Neutral Nikki. How about that? Okay, you think it's possible that he could get up there and say, hypothetically speaking, I've had a problem for a long time. I was groomed myself. I have, and like sincerely though, because it's one thing when you do a video, and this is again, I don't want anybody to mistake what I'm saying for me giving him a pass or making up an excuse for him. I'm just saying, as we look at this big picture, you think it's possible, because it's one thing to say, to have an insincere video, because I think everybody kind of looks at the video when he, apologized to Cassie and they're like, okay, where'd that come from? And was that sincere? But now that he done spent a whole lot of time in jail and a whole lot of time away from his kids, and he got a really good taste of what life looks like, not as Diddy the mogul, but Diddy the prisoner, Diddy the felon, Diddy the guy who's going to spend the rest of his life right here. Do you think that him getting on that bench, he could muster up enough authenticity and remorse to say where this came from, where these habits came from? And maybe it's something he should do anyway, just so that even if he goes to jail, people don't feel like he went to jail denying what he did or he tried to get out. Maybe something to sort of smooth over public perception, if that is possible. Explain where it came from. And not just that, share that he wasn't the only fly in the cookie jar doing this, and maybe give a little more insight into how this happens in Hollywood and who else is doing it. Do y'all think that could help sway public or not?
No,
No.
because then they're looking at the snitch.
Snitch at
All
this point.
At this point, everybody should be see. It would then go to everything else, and my whole thing is, why is it that it's going to take the black man to come through when we didn't have Weinstein and all these other children? What was Epstein killed himself, so he wouldn't tell nobody. He was up in there, had the same opportunity to do just that. What did he do? He chickened out and killed his damn self. Okay, it at this particular point, if he were to bring something, if anything were to work, quote unquote, it would be about how he's been away from his kids. Because as someone who is um, a father, trying to be a role model or whatever, understand that he has daughters and not realizing what his contributions or his actions have done to other women, how that looked upon his, because I'm sure he shielded his daughters from all of that. All of that now is in the spotlight as to the kind of man that he is to other women. So if anything to say, it would be about what his actions have done to his children, okay, and what his and the umbrella that his actions have upon their lifestyle, upon what they have to experience on a day-to-day basis, because he's locked up. They still have to live this, okay? So if anything he could say, it would be that approach to say, okay, the error of my ways has been this. But as far as saying where this comes from and this, that, and the other, there's nothing you can say, because this is Hollywood. We all come into this business understanding sex, drugs, rock and roll. That has always been the standard as far as what entertainment is. You fell prey because you became one of the hothead little fuckers from the hood that done made some money and got some power, and now you abuse your power. All right.
Woo!
So now,
Okay, all right. Well, let me get into some of these comments from our folks in the chat. EXO says he also orchestrated the cover up to prevent that video from getting released, which I think there might be some illegal activity going on there because of the payola there. And of course, he is not on trial for domestic violence. Danica, I hope I'm saying your name right, says if he takes the stand, they may point out that he had the finances and power to get help and he didn't. That's where his celebrity will work against him. That is a really solid point. EXO then goes on to say, Nicci, you want him to throw himself at the mercy of the court. Kind of, but more than, yeah. I just feel like, again, this goes back to jurors, right? Which I unfortunately wasn't lucky enough to get a jury. But if there was an opportunity to get a jury, isn't the whole idea of a jury trial to convince one of the jurors, at the very least, that there's a possibility that maybe this RICO thing and the sex-trafficking thing isn't as open and shut as we all assume? Because I think we still keep kind of getting caught up in the character of who he is as a person. And I think we can all agree some of the shit that we've seen and heard during this testimony is like crazy, crazy. But is it enough for him to go to jail for the rest of his life? So we're going to wrap Diddy up, and I'm going to ask Meech, and I'm going to ask Lauren. And I'm going to ask everybody out here in the chat. And please make sure you guys, please hit the like button for us. This is the question of the night. Is Diddy a hardcore freak and a mean guy, or a hardcore felon? What say you? It's like crazy. But is it
enough? The freak part is definitely been proven, that the freak off parties was a part of his thing. Should he go to jail for the rest of his life? No, he should not go to jail for the rest of his life. I think with the whole, I just want to touch on this really quick because the age difference between him and Cassie is a huge gap. And when you have somebody that's already well established in their career and you take somebody that's trying to get their career off the ground, that leverage is very, and at the time he was like at the height of the height. He had like 3 shows on MTV. Sean John was big. He was doing all of this stuff. So I think that definitely plays into it. But I don't think he should go to jail for the rest of his life. I mean, he, didn't unalive people. What he did was bad enough. But to go to jail for the rest of your life, I don't think that's, but that's just my personal opinion.
Especially when the Abercrombie and Fitch millionaire isn't even in jail waiting for his trial. See, that 2 things can be true here. It could be possible that black men just get hit it, quit it, get on with it, lock them up, throw away the key, and non-black men get an opportunity to really, like the Reader woman. Was it Karen Reader? Talk about privilege. Meech, what are your thoughts on that? Lauren, can you mute your phone?
My thoughts are I'm going to echo Lauren, honey. He's just a super freak, baby. He's a super freak that got some money. Okay? And that's a dangerous combination because one of the things that we all know is that when people get coin, they get a little bit of coin, darling, and they already was toe up in the head to begin with, and now you got yes men around you who won't put you in check. Damn it, you think the world is yours. You got a super freak up in here who have made some insidious choices, okay? But does that require him to go to jail for the rest of his life? No. He needs to be accountable for the shit that he did. But that doesn't mean that he goes to jail for the rest of his life. But as I said at the top of this, they're trying to neutralize him so that he don't get the inkling to want to do this ever again, to think that he could activate on the same level that they are. They gave him, listen, he gave you a seat at the table. You want to be brave enough and say, I can build my own table. Okay, they let you build the table. But then, damn it, you came and took your table, and now you trying to bring your table and move in my house. And they like, okay, you know what? Stop this shit right here. Okay? So no, you just a super freak. Ain't that what the song say?
Yes,
That's
indeed.
all.
She's a super freak. Super freak. She's super freaking, y'all. That's been going on for a minute. Okay, so we're about to get into the next person. We're gonna save Tyler for last because Mish, I cannot wait. You got a second with us, hopefully, because I cannot wait to get into that part. We are going to touch briefly on Shannon Sharpe because his story has been around for a minute. But I have to say, Danica, you are spot on tonight. I think that he is disturbed. He is a disturbed person that needs help. Freak is an understatement. Couldn't agree more. But his bedroom activities are not our business, is not business. I don't think that he deserves a life all cap sentence. And I think that's the thing that we're all processing, right? Does he deserve to go? Does Diddy? And this is a question I want us all to really think about and process. Based on what we've seen in this trial, based on the things we've heard, I mean, I was expecting there to be minors and all sorts of things and products inside the baby oil. I was just expecting all kinds of things. And I don't want to minimize the egregious, horrible behavior. But is it enough, y'all? Have we seen enough throughout this trial, which is just about over, for Diddy to spend the rest of his life in prison? That is a question. Okay, EXO, let's see what you're saying, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. EXO says, does he deserve life sentence? No. However, I think we need to emphasize that that it isn't what Diddy did, but how he did it. What a great way to wrap this up. 100% agree with you. It seems like there's a lot of sloppy behavior for people who, and not just with Diddy, because this sloppy behavior seems to go on to Mr. Perry. The sloppy behavior seems to go. I'm sorry. Sloppy behavior is everywhere out here in these entertainment industry streets. And I'm really shocked and I'm really surprised that there are not people in Diddy's camp, in Tyler's camp, in Shannon's camp, in Cosby's camp, in R. Kelly's camp, in Tory's camp. I'm just shocked that there is not a person or people who would tap them on the shoulder and be like, don't do that. Like, everybody needs that person who is in your corner enough to piss you off because they're going to tell you that what you're doing is dumb as hell. So let's get in. Let's get into this gentleman right here, ladies and gentlemen. Foreshadowed fumbles. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. If you don't believe fat meat is greasy was a person, it would be Shannon Sharpe. Now, we're not going to go in on Shannon Sharpe too long because we got to get into Tyler and try to figure out how to wrap this thing up. But keep in mind, you guys, this is going to be an ongoing conversation on WIRF.tv. I know you can go a whole lot of places and you can get salacious, the drama, the reads, the shade. But I really enjoy us really having, brother, sister, friend conversations over a protein shake and some water to unpack some of these issues. So, Lauren, I'm going to bring it back to you. Do you have a little bit of an update on Shannon Sharpe?
Yes, I do. Okay, so I just want to just give a little detail about who Shannon Sharpe is as a person in case people are not sports fans that are watching, okay, and how he became to be who he is in the world of entertainment. Okay, so Shannon Sharpe played in the NFL for like 14 seasons. He won the Super Bowl 3 times with a couple of different teams. He he was on First Take for a long time with Skip Bayless, which is a show on ESPN. He's done all this kind of commentary, and now he has his YouTube show where he is Club Shay Shay, basically, where he has all these people on as guests on his show. Okay, so that's the rundown of who he is. You know, some people call him Uncle Shannon, blah, blah, blah. Now, here's the nitty gritty. Recently, like this past week, he has been accused, filed in a Nevada court of law, according to MSN, by a Jane Doe who accused him of physical and SA encounters.
Wait. Hold on. You said this is a new lawsuit, like a recent lawsuit?
Yeah, 50. I'm sorry. Let me see. What's the date on here? This is so within a month. It's within a month, but it's filed in Nevada. I'm sorry. No, I take that back. October 2024. It was filed in Nevada. Jane Doe, she was 19 at the time that this occurred, which happened in 2003 after meeting him in a gym in LA. So it's a $50 million suit. ESPN has asked him to step down, so he is off of ESPN for the current moment. His show with Skip Bayless is like a 3 hour show where they talk about the rundown of all the things going on in sports. It's called First Take, I believe. And then he does his, Club Shay Shay, which gets all these views on his YouTube channel, where he has all of these guests on, where he does these interviews that are normally anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. So, no information is given about who this young lady is because, of the type of case that it is. So she is a Jane Doe. And I believe he was warned by several in our community to, leave these young alone.
Oh, he was warned by several people in our community for sure. Monique told him, hands down, I wish I had the clip. Shannon, you need to get you a good old fat woman that's going to be in the kitchen, frying up, cooking up, whoop, 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 whoop. And he ignored the warning. Now, I don't know. And then Cat Williams as well. Ain't nothing like that meme with Cat Williams with that shot glass, baby, letting us have it. He's like, oh, y'all don't have any idea what is coming down the pipeline. Meech, let me ask you, brother Shannon Sharpe, he is running the YouTube streets. He is the biggest thing, out here right now. Well, was. Maybe still is, because I'm sure, that's the thing. That's another thing I want to ask the chat about. Do you think that any of these accusations, either Tyler's accusations, Shannon's accusations, Diddy's, because people still listening to, I don't see nothing wrong. Listen, they still listening to Robert Kelly. Do you think that this is going to affect his bag? Do you think he fumbled it? And what do you think is happening with these black men? Because, and this is directed to you, Meech, and we're going to expand on this a little bit when we get into the Tyler Perry conversation. You guys, thank y'all for coming in. Please make sure you hit the like button. And chat, please feel free to inquire, ask any questions. Thank you for watching me on Facebook and WIRF TV YouTube. Meech, there has been this innuendo going around where people are saying that the reason that a lot of these men are getting into this kind of trouble with these women is because they are, maybe struggling with their who they are and whatnot or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that is what's happening with Brother Shannon Sharp. I'm not insinuating that. But what do you think goes through someone's head that has that much money, that much power, that much influence, that they get a little sloppy in their sex life? I just don't understand.
You just said just that. They sloppy. This ain't not. It's nothing new. Listen, as a gay man, I'm gonna say this because the straight men think that the world is supposed to just rise and shine on their member they have between their legs down there. Okay, and as long as they are the cat's meow, and they got it like that or whatever, it becomes I got the pick of the litter until the litter box starts stinking. Okay. So when we have this, it's just that he Shay Shay, he Uncle Shay Shay. Now I want y'all to understand something. When he was on the show with the white guy, okay, that show there was everything, okay. But what happened, like everything else, they set up there. The white guy overstepped his damn boundaries, okay. And because Shannon was taking it at first and this, down the other, and they were able to bounce back and key. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean that like that, bada da dee. And Shannon basically gave him a pass, if you will. Okay. He went one thing too many. That's how come Shannon left the show and started his own shit. Now, you done started to become a self-made man in these YouTube streets. Now you making your own money. You got advertisers. Shannon done made his own cognac. He sit up there hustling his own liquor. You got too much power. So what happens? ESPN gonna give him a new show on his own. Well, honey, that didn't sit well as far as I'm concerned. That didn't sit well with everybody else because you're not doing it with the white man no more. Y'all were that was a perfect team. They were the dude. Okay. So now here we are. I got an opportunity to take this bag to the next level. Right? Now you are the next level that they cannot control because ESPN can't come in there. He's no longer Shannon Sharp. He's Uncle Shay Shay. Okay, which has a whole different breed of following and carrying on. They can't control that narrative, darling. So what does that now mean? You coming in needing a bigger bag because you're coming in with 14 million subscribers or whatever the hell that is. Okay, and you on top of your game because you're a former player. Three Super Bowls. So you know what the hell you're talking about. So they can't had to come in, needing more money. The white man ain't getting part of that money. And so now we got a problem. So how do they set them up? With a white girl. A young, not underage, clock that. She's not underage, but she's close enough to it to where, oh my God, now all of a sudden, and if you really want to know the truth about it, y'all listen, when you're hot in the ass, you're hot in the ass. Everybody can smell money. He has a presence and whatever the case may be. And of course, this here is also backlash because it wasn't long ago that you had a sex scandal because all of a sudden you got your little thing on YouTube or Instagram where you're live, getting it in live or whatever that you claiming, oh, I didn't know my phone was on. Yes, the hell you did. Because now that came after all of the insinuation about his sexuality because of that damn green suit he had on. Okay. So honey, now
Baby, that
all of
suit.
this
I just wish. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
okay, all of this is set up for the game. His bag was starting to increase. So again, they're going to neutralize that bag. Now, I don't think that this is going to be a complete devastation for him, but this is to get his attention to slow his ass down.
Baby, I wonder if it's going to be, I mean, obviously it's very serious for Diddy, but I wonder if it's going to be as serious for him or as serious for Tyler, which we're about to get into. EXO said, talk about it, Meech. And Danica says, I think these older men with money look for younger partners in effort to mold them. And she used the word mold, which is very delicate and very nice. But, you know, there's another word, and it rhymes with the word broom. And I think that that is something that happens a lot as well. It's interesting. I was going to say that I think Shannon, being a football player, you know, they're always behind the helmet. You don't really see them. Like basketball players, you know who they are. You see their faces or whatever. But a lot of times with football players, you know, they are behind this helmet and all of this gear and all this other stuff. So they don't really get the, like, even though we know who Shannon is, he was on TV, he's a news personality or whatever. But what I've discovered is, like, people get real geeked up, you know? Let me reset the room real quick before I go on my little tangent. You guys, if you are just joining us, tonight's topic is the fall of the icons, fallen icons, and can they recover? Please make sure you do me the kind favor of hitting the like, the share, the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And please don't hesitate to run on into that Cash App. It is Cash App, which is fight, $fight, the number 4 and worth. We are viewer supported. We really appreciate you guys supporting us. And I promise I'm going to be very consistent. Weeknights at 10:30-ish. I might as well go on and make it 10:30 because I be so late all the time. But back to my panel. So I think that what happens is people get geeked up. I think that people who have never been famous, like I say all the time, listen, I don't even, honey, if God said, listen, ma'am, we're going to give you a choice. We want you to, you can either decide that you want to be wealthy or not even wealthy, just comfortable and healthy, or super rich and famous. I'm choosing comfortable and healthy at this point in my life because it's just, there's so much connected to fame. And if you haven't had it, and if you haven't been out in these streets as a famous person, and you just kind of just getting your look, you get a little geeked up and you start spreading yourself a little thin out here in these groupie streets. And what's crazy to me is that you got these grown ass men, because all of them grown. Diddy grown. Tyler grown. Bill Cosby was grown. Shannon Sharpe grown. You got all these grown ass black men. Please hit the like button as you guys are coming in. Who keep making these sloppy mistakes. And I think they're making these sloppy mistakes because they're yearning for a type of attention that, although they are wealthy and they can buy whatever the hell they want, there's something missing. There is something that is void in their lives. And speaking of grown ass men who have something missing and something void in their lives, baby, I've been waiting for this here conversation. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is a little close to home. We talked about this a little bit last night. Please hit the like button as you come in. Some of you are aware, I worked with Tyler Perry. Yeah, let me make this a little personal. Hi there, guys. So, some of you may be aware that I had an opportunity to work with Tyler Perry, and I mentioned on my live on our Nights with Nicci last night. It was very fresh. It was very, this whole thing had just broken and everybody been talking about it, right? And I was watching Don Lemon, and who was on the show? Jason Lee. And I've seen a few other people covering this Tyler Perry thing. And I see this happening. And I'm concerned. I do believe that it's possible that this is indeed some kind of a setup, right? I think that that is very possible. As I said in the very beginning, I think that, maybe perhaps Tyler pissed off the wrong person. Maybe perhaps Tyler, just it was definitely sloppy, because these text messages, if these are indeed verified text messages, like, why are why are you, as wealthy as you are, as powerful as you are, as much as you have to lose, why are you even giving someone that kind of ammunition, Mr. Perry? Why is it even possible for someone who was under your employ to be able to release messages to the whole wide world, global, everywhere, that look fairly incriminating? Now, I want to draw the line. I'm going to bring my panel back up. And of course, I would love, 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 love to hear from y'all. I want to draw the line when it comes to us speculating about his sexuality, because that ain't none of our goddamn business. Period. Who he sleeps with, what he likes, that ain't our business. That has nothing to do with me, you, her, him, they. So that is an invasion of privacy to a degree, if there was no criminal behavior involved in this. But what this feels like to me is that whoever this person is, Mr. Dixon, who filed this lawsuit, has been keeping a paper trail and preparing for this moment. And this is the thing that I have to say about non-Black people. A lot of Black people are this way too, right? I'm not saying that all Black people don't have the patience to really plan and build and calculate. But we are usually more emotional and reactive. I talk all the time about being proactive versus being reactive. And this sounds like a case. I'm sorry, Tyler, make some room for me. This sounds like a case of someone who was very calculated and very patient and had a lot of access. And again, I'm not victim shaming here. I'm not victim shaming. And I'm not saying that what he said that Tyler did not occur, because like I said last night, I have even felt intimidated by Tyler. And he is known to cut you loose if you participate in activities or do or say. And what's really interesting, this is why this is so weird for me. And my phone has kind of been blowing up. There's some folks I got to call to catch up with. But this is why this is weird for me, because I recall when I worked with Tyler on Meet the Browns, he had a very strict no fraternizing policy between people who worked on the set. He was not here for the dating. In fact, people got sent home if they were messing around with one another, because he had established very early on that a lot of times that causes a lot of conflict and can mess up the whole show. Well, and another one. Talk about messing up some shit. I'm shocked, because my experience with Tyler working on Meet the Browns, he was not having people fraternizing with one another, which is why I call this sloppy. Now, we don't know how true these allegations are, but one thing has happened for sure. Tyler Perry's career has been forever stained by his recklessness. Whether this is a case of someone that he just fell for and was attracted to, that he worked with, and he broke his own rules of like not fraternizing with employees, or whether it's something more sinister. He kind of set himself up for this. by having the interactions that he had that are now available for all the world to see. Got me thinking about text messages I done sent. I mean, I ain't never sent nothing freaky like that unless, it's to my husband, a little something. But yeah, this is interesting. Nina says it's a do as I say, not as I do mentality. And see, now we're learning. Parents, y'all pay attention. Parents who be telling your kids not to do shit, but you be turning around doing it. Pay attention, Carol Ann. That shit will come back and bite you in the ass. For damn show. And J-Rock, the actor, says, wasn't Tamika Scott fired from Meet the Browns for dating the security guard? I don't know. I don't think so. But there were people who were fired. There are a couple people I know for sure that were fired. You see, the mother changed real quick, and she was fired because of fraternizing. And in fact, there was a big brouhaha in Detroit where people got into an actual kerfuffle, and fists was flying because of somebody dating somebody else. So what he said about employees dating each other on these shows was absolutely right. I'm just really shocked that he didn't take his own advice. And not taking his own advice, he's in a situation where he might be paying somebody $260 million plus. I'm gonna get one more from the chat, and then I'm gonna bring the panel back up. Danica says, I think because they're so desperate to always feel powerful, they overlook the possibility that someone else might be playing them better. You better know it. And here's another thing before I bring Meech and Lauren up. Here's the other thing. What is done in the dark will definitely be brought into the light. And karma is a bitch. And God don't play about it. Karma is the great equalizer. So, do I believe some of what this young man is saying? How can you not believe it if it's in writing, right? But once again, we're getting back to, and I think, who was it that said it earlier in the chat? It isn't about what Diddy did, but how he did it. And I think in this case with Tyler Perry, it could be a very similar situation where it's not so much about what he did, but how he did it and who he did it with. So, Meech, I want to start with you on this because there's so many layers to this, and there's a lot of people out here who are, you guys, I have the cover over Meech because I'm not trying to listen. Heaven forbid, he's busy. But tomorrow night, your ass needs to be stationary so they can see your beautiful face. This guy wants $260 million. And what I see people honing in on, which I think is out of order, in my personal opinion, is they're so concerned about this man's sexuality. Why are we so concerned about whether someone is straight or gay? Please explain to me.
We're concerned about it because everybody wants the validation. Okay, so they can say, I told you so. Okay, which means nothing. Because once okay, so what? If he would have come out and say, yeah, I am, then what? Because I've been saying it all in my life. Okay, but because I'm a flamboyant queen. See, I'm one of the kind that you can point out and say, oh, that's gay. Okay, but Tyler and his ambiguity right now, because he's never come out or whatever. He had a child and things of that nature that a lot of folks thought that was suspect anyway. As a matter of fact, when the baby was born or when the girl was pregnant with the baby, they were sitting up there. I had somebody went online. I was on Facebook and said that they was at the party at the announcement party that he had with the mama, and said Tyler's boyfriend was there and her boyfriend was there. This was all for show. So I was like, Tyler, you're here, and they got to describe what was going on at the party and et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of folks just want the gossip. They want the tea. They just want the tea. Okay. But it doesn't mean anything, because what we have here, these allegations that this man is saying, listen, I was an actor. I'm coming in, the whole Hollywood thing now. I'm coming to him because I had an idea and I wanted to pitch it and blah blah blah. And I was told, okay, come to the house and all this done the third. We drinking. I was drunk and whatever. I laid down, just to clear my head. And next thing I know, he's in the bed with me trying to touch me and blah 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 blah. We got that same story damn near verbatim from Christian Keys. Okay, we got that damn near verbatim. It's just that Christian did not name names. Everybody thought that it was Tyler, but then when the whole "Have you been swallowed" come out about with TD Jakes, folks thought that it was either um, Tyler
Have you ever been
or Tyler's
swallowed?
Drake. Okay, so we got all of that. Right now, I don't know what's true and what's not. All I know is we have consistencies and I'm seeing a pattern. I find it rather interesting, though, that here, when Christian did it, and Christian didn't name names that he was supposed to have been because he was supposed to go and talk to the lawyer. He was supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z. But all of a sudden, honey, that went hush hush, right? Well, what happened? All the Queen's Men, honey, for those of you who do not know, that's a Christian Keys production. Christian writes that. That's Christians. Okay, that's based on his books, on his characters, the character. He's even executive producer of that. All right. So we don't hear nothing about that anymore. All right. And Christian also said that he got receipts. He said he got the little camera pins and things that he got tons and tons of receipts. Okay. And said that if he were to release them and y'all hear the voice was recognizable immediately. You'll know who it is by the first two words. Okay. So it was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, right now, here we got the white boy who we know at this particular point does not have a career anymore. Okay. The only way this boy would ever work in this town again is if somebody on the same level of Tyler or greater, like a Martin Scorsese or what's the other title I'm thinking of? Schindler's List. What's his name? Um, oh God, I can't think of the director's name, but somebody like that who had the coin that'll bring him and say you could work. Because right now, this boy here, he's banking on getting something. He's not gonna get that 260 million. There's nowhere near that. And as far as those text messages are concerned, here is one thing that it gets. Well, I'm gonna say it's sloppy. It was smart, but sloppy at the same time. Y'all know that those are burner phones. Y'all know damn well those are burner phones.
Okay, but those may have been burner phones, but if you have somebody who was planted, we just playing the game, exploring the options here. If you had somebody that was planted and their intention was to get you to respond to stuff, then Tyler would have to say, well, that wasn't me responding on that phone. So what is the point? Like, what does it mean that it was a burner phone? Does that mean it's not him, maybe?
No, what it means is that it becomes he said, she said. And so he got enough people in his arsenal and got enough coin to where he can make shit disappear. And we done watched, we done seen Scandal, we done seen the good shows. We know with folks who know how to manipulate their resources, they know exactly what to do to get out of shit. Okay. That there is why I say that's a burner phone because it already I haven't heard Patty Jackson, but she's already said Tyler came out, he denied the whole thing. Oh, this is none of this is true. And I'm sure he's gonna go on. This is a disgruntled employee, yada yada, the whole nine yards. What all that's supposed to mean? Okay, but what we have consistencies. We have the consistencies. And then here's another thing that I want to point out that I think is um, correlated. It's related. It may not have a lot of weight, but I think it's a factor. One of the things about his sets that I'm hearing everybody, and I've worked on a Tyler Perry set, and I got a Tyler Perry credit. I was in I Could Do Bad all by myself, the film, okay, as a background extra, okay. So, having said all that, now I didn't get a chance to meet Tyler or nothing. Uh, all I know is how we were treated on that damn set, okay, and that pissed me off
Ooh.
because, yeah, it pissed me off because when we got there to set, that's a 7 o'clock in the morning call. Girl, it rained all damn day. It rained. Now, I'm non-equity, okay? Did you know they had us outside under a fucking tent where the water is dripping on this damn tent? We got to pop the tent so that the water wouldn't you know, cave in the tent. We sit up there getting job child. We getting rain on and etc. etc. Well, sweetheart, all our feet done got wet. Okay, so production goes in and they come giving us a goddamn pair of socks. Okay,
I
they
have
got
to say, ain't nothing like wet, soggy socks. So them giving you socks was actually maybe a gesture of love. And the other thing that I'm gonna say, and Tyler, please don't get an attitude with me about it, but there's a reason why that man keeps some bread, because he picks and chooses where he spends his money. And yes, he may have given some folks millions of dollars, but baby, the average person that works on a Tyler Perry production is not getting broke off like that, which is why I was shocked to hear allegedly how much money the victim or the claimant was receiving, because that is unheard of. But go ahead, Meech. I'm sorry.
because as an extra, we were getting paid minimum wage. When you broke it down, it was only minimum wage. Federal minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour, children. Catch that. Federal minimum wage is still only $7.25 an hour. So when they tell us that we was making $100 for the day based on a 14-hour day, so when you did the math, it was minimum wage. But nonetheless, they gave us a pair of socks, but our shoes were already wet. So we got dry socks and wet shoes. All right. Then they told us that they didn't want us networking with each other. They want us to sit down there. We couldn't exchange business cards with each other. We couldn't do shit. We just had to be icicles. All right. They fed us, We had the cafeteria plate. We had the chicken and mashed potatoes and the pea and carrot mixed vegetable with the little dinner roll. We didn't start filming until maybe like 3 o'clock that afternoon. All right, because we had to wait till the rain. We did not know that there was another set of actors on the fucking set. Where were they? Over there in the studio, because this is where he got the first studio over there by Greenbrier Mall. We're over there. A whole set of folk are in the building. In the building while we outside. Girl, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is this? You got we done just did a whole media thing about you in the studio and you got us outside in the rain? Really? Okay. All right. That's just me.
Well,
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
we go through, we film and carried on. I had a beautiful moment that I wish they had left in the show, but I almost fucked up the scene. I almost fucked it up. Okay. And that's because they just told me, okay, just walk up the street, you just walking. I did not know what we were filming, right? So I'm in the stop that girl, stop her. All I heard, I turned around, like, what the fuck? Right. Like,
I think we're
the scene.
okay. We were losing you for a second. Finish it up, Meech. What did you
Okay.
say?
I said, I almost fucked that scene. 'Cause. Scene. Up.
Well, listen. 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 Well, There are no small scenes. There are no wet socks. Only small actors. All right, you guys. This conversation has been absolutely delicious. Let me ask you this real quick, Meech. Do you think that Tyler Perry is being held accountable for behavior that he engaged in that was inappropriate, and based on what you, me, and other, excuse me, and here's the thing, it's kind of like with the Diddy trial. Like, people come up with their ideas about, how guilty somebody is, and but this person said it too. The same way we're waiting on the prosecution in Diddy's trial to give us something to convince us that he deserves a life sentence, we can't just assume that Christian Keys was talking about Tyler Perry, because Christian never said Tyler's name. And as a community, we have run with this narrative that it is absolutely Tyler. And I mean, yeah, okay, granted, some people be like, girl, bye, you know who, blah, 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 and the similarities or whatever, but we're putting pieces together in a puzzle, and we don't know, we weren't there. So in the chat, the responses that we're getting is that Derek Dixon is out for money. Derek Dixon is lying on Mr. Perry. Those text messages were definitely cut and chopped. None of those messages say that Tyler Perry groped nor assaulted Derek. Mr. Perry's sexuality is nobody's business, and people need to leave Mr. Perry alone. Somebody said he's definitely not getting $260 million. I don't think he's getting that much either. But I mean, hey, listen, he is a non-black person suing a black person. So who knows what happens in those streets when that is the situation. Tyler Perry's attorney did release a statement Tyler did release a statement via his attorney referring to it as a scam. So before we wrap this thing here up, I have got to ask my panel, and I am asking people in the chat. First, I'm asking folks in the chat, if you have been watching this broadcast and enjoying this broadcast, would you please do me a favor and hit the like button so that YouTube knows that we like this emotionally intelligent, stimulating conversation we having over here at Worth TV. So my question is for you, Lauren. Given the information, and it feels like we're going to continue this conversation about what's going on with Tyler and what's going on. And listen, tomorrow we might wake up and it might be somebody else. Shit. I mean, I done pissed off the machine too. I ain't had no sexcapades or nothing. I mean, the most I got is some past due bills, but who knows? You know what I'm saying? My head stays on a swivel because I know that I done pissed off a few people too. We lost Meech. Nikki, we need an entire show with you and your panel sharing. Okay, he's back. We need an entire show with you and your panel showing behind the scenes horror stories. Laugh out loud. Here's the thing. Christian Key's story went quiet. If this goes quiet, people may begin to wonder. Yeah, I have to say that could be a very strong possibility indeed. Meech is back. Okay, so let's try to wrap this thing up. And I'm going to ask you first, Lauren, given the information that we have, the limited information that we have about this case and Tyler Perry, do you believe, I think I asked you this last night. No, I'm not going to ask you that because, you know what? Answer it again tonight for the people who may not have heard you last night. Do you think, A, that this is going to affect his fan base? And do you think that this thing is going to become a bigger deal, or is this just going to get squashed, settled, and Tyler's going to be back to making his millions on his studio lot?
No, I don't think this is going to impact his fan base at all. I just don't, because his fan base is mostly older black women. Let's just keep it real. That is his fan base. As far as the impact on Tyler Perry Studios and Tyler Perry Productions and all that stuff, the only way that it is impacted is if there are more people that come out of the woodworks that have some type of real proof that something like this happened to them. That's really the only way that this impacts him in that regard, to where it, affects his pocket. But like these text messages that came out, like a lot of people, because it was on the Shade Room today, or it was on the Shade Room posted it yesterday. But a lot of people, like celebs and fans, are just like, "What am I missing?" Because they don't like, they don't see it. You know, some people are saying like, "Oh, this is an indicator." Some people are just like, "What are you reading that I'm not reading because I don't see it?" And like some people have said, like it looks like they were spliced together. So it's kind of like, you know, it doesn't make a, which is part of what I was saying yesterday. It's like some of this stuff, it just doesn't add up with the information that was put out. Like it's not, um, it's disconjointed is basically what it is. So I don't think it's going to have an impact unless some other people come out the work that have actual proof. And Spielberg was the director that he was thinking about, Meach was thinking about earlier, who directed Schindler's List.
So, in your opinion, this is more of a witch hunt than an actual situation where somebody's going to get justice?
Yeah, I think it's really, it kind of feels like a money grab. I mean, it does. And it's just like, you know, I read the complaint that was filed with the court, and it's a little disjointed. It just, you know, it's like the messages, it's like proof of what is this proof of, that y'all had a conversation? Okay. You know, it just like it just, some of them, they just don't make any sense.
All right, Meech, what are your thoughts? My question is a little different for you. Now that these messages have come out, and I mean, you know, we don't know how real they are. If it turns out that the messages are real, and it's like, okay, so what? The messages are real. The one thing that the world is then going to say is, ha ha. Do you think that that is going to have any impact on his life and career? And what would you say to Tyler if you were his friend and you were close to him? If Tyler allowed you to come to that set and y'all got cool and he did the same kind of vibe that he did with Mr. Dixon, like, hey, Meech, come to the crib, have a drink. What would you say to him as a seasoned queen? Meech, I didn't know that are you a gold star gay?
Oh, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. That's a new one on me. I just listen.
Let me say, I just found out that a gold star gay, you know, I shouldn't have asked you that question on this panel because this person just volunteered it. But a gold star gay is allegedly someone who has never slept with a woman. But don't even answer that. Don't even respond to that. Respond to the question that I asked you, which is, what would you say to Tyler if you were his friend? And do you think that now, even if we find out that these messages are in fact authentic or real, do you think that's going to change his position in this industry?
No, here's where it is. If I were his friend, there's a number of things I would say to him. The first thing I would do, I would tell him, you have the power to tell a man's story who has been molested. You have the power to tell that story from a man's point of view, because that's his story. Okay. When he went on Oprah and got to crying and they did the whole thing about all these different men, Tyler has yet to bring that story to the forefront where he celebrates men. As baby girl, I'm sorry, I can't think of my sister's name over there.
Lauren. Oh wait, you talking about Lauren, my soror, Lauren?
Yeah, Lauren.
Okay.
Thank you, baby. As Lauren has said, his fan base ain't going nowhere because he has a strong Black woman fan base. But I want to add a caveat. Now, I said it a little impolitely, but most of his fan base are Black overweight women who go to church, okay, and single, okay. That there is is the majority of his fan base, because that's the language that he speaks with all of this. So I would tell him, number one, tell your story and stop running from it. Number two, I would tell him, sit your ass down and stop acting as if don't nobody know what the hell is going on. Because we all been speculating and carrying on. Tyler has a type. Tyler has a type. If you look at everything that Tyler Perry has done, every archetype of man is the same. Every man is in there is the same type of man. He likes some light skin. He likes some built and carrying on. Every now and again, he'll throw a chocolate brother up in there just for variety, like a Terrell Carter or what's my other baby? What's my other baby? I can't think. He'll throw Terrell.
Now, don't y'all say nothing bad about my son, because my son went to Penn State and not the state pen. But okay.
But he'll throw Terrell up in there. Well, look at Terrell, how he's beautiful. That's a beautiful man. All right. But he knows what to do with his fan base. But everything who has been the good guys and everything that he has done has always been light skin or medium brown skin. You know, the pretty boys, the Boris Kojos, the Shamar Moore types, okay, everything has been consistent. Most of his dark-skinned people have always been the villains because he's one who would play the light versus dark with these boys. And all of the overweight men have always been comedy. Look at Mr. Brown. Look at Curtis. Okay? When Rodney Perry was in there, Rodney not as big, he was the comedy. Okay, so he has a type. Sit down and be honest and be real. Stop running from it because everything here is out. When Walter Lee Hampton the second, or is it the third? I can't think. When Walter Lee sat up there and outed Tyler a long time ago, I don't know if y'all remember, he's a YouTuber, and outed Tyler and said, oh, well, we used to go to the club together, carrying on and blah, 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 blah. Not long after that video went out, honey, Walter came up and had a big old gash in his face. Okay, that he had plastic surgery on his face, and he stood up there and told everybody, "No, y'all, those are just rumors. That nothing happened to me." He said that a glass door had fallen on him, and that's the story that he stuck with. I said it fell on you because somebody threw your ass out. Okay, and all of that, but you have to be honest and stop acting as if you're going to lose your fan base. Let's look at the quality of his work right now. Once he had locked in that church crowd, now everything is about him cussing. When Madea said motherfucker the first time in the last Madea movie, I gagged. I was like, oh, he cussed it? And now you look at the series. He is so blatantly in a lot of sexual stuff and sisters and carrying on. How is it that you running the TV shows or whatever, and you got the girl dating a bi guy who wants to have a sex toy used on him by his woman? That's in your script. Okay? That's in your script. Why? So you done got more risque with what it is that you're doing and your work. You're telling different kinds of stories. And it's telling us your growth and your comfortability and all of this. So if you're going to be daring, then go out there and do it. You done made your money. Who you scared of now?
Mike motherfucking drop. Mike motherfucking drop. Okay. Wow. So Meech, do you think that Mr. Tyler Perry that this is about justice for Mr. Dixon, or do you think that this is a witch hunt?
It's both, because see, here we go. Dixon is going to get the applause, and he's going to get the, oh my God, this white man and oh my God, this gay white man has been assaulted, because I want y'all to hear me very clearly. If the LGBT community come out on this, they're coming to rally for him, because this is going to be a white queen, honey, who has been violated, and oh my God, and it's going to be all of that, and it's going to piss me off, because I don't know what his side is. All we got is the crybaby tears right now. We don't know what was provoked, what was this, what was that, because we don't know what was being flirty, what was being this, what was being that, what promises were made and carried on. I got a script, honey, but if I came over and put the script in your chest and my hand just happened to run over your nipple seductively or whatever, I'm sorry. We don't know what any of that was to make you say, oh, we'll have a cocktail and this, that, and the other. We don't know that, okay? But Right now, just based on what we got, this is going to be, it's a money grab because he's not going to get 260 million. That's the number that's out there so that it could grab the attention of everybody here in the world that's going to say, oh my God, he's going. You ain't going to see no parts of that. You're going to get enough to where your lawyer fees are going to be taken care of. You're going to get enough to where you can sit down for a minute because you don't have a career anymore. You do not have a career because dimes to donuts, when this is all over, all of your residuals from the over will be snatched. Okay, whatever you think you're gonna get, all that's gonna be snatched, bitch. And no, you ain't gonna know. So your career is going to be, you're gonna probably have to leave the country for a little minute and go regroup, put that little coin over there in a Swiss bank account so it can collect better interest and then come back. Okay, that's probably what's going to happen. That's probably what's going to have to happen here. But again, as I was saying, Tyler Perry is a self-made billionaire, a black self-made billionaire that no one can control because they can't say they're not going to do his movies and carry on because why? He proved to them I could distribute it myself and still make my coin. You got the fan base now to where I don't care what it is. Madea could say anything. She could say Madea's saying the ABCs and it's going to sell, right? Because he has a Tyler Can Do No Wrong fan base right now. So this is not, his fan base is going nowhere. What's going to happen is this is going to be enough to where when folks see how much money this man actually gets, everybody else who's going to have a similar story going to want to try to do the cash in as well. And it's not going to work the second time around. It's not going to work, which is why the white boy is the litmus test. This is going to see what's going to work and what ain't going to work. And you better get it now because one of the things that Tyler is, he's a student. He's going to learn exactly what to do and what not to do. And this is going to be it. And the proof is in the pudding. When he was on TBS and the Boondocks came out with Ma Dukes and told his story about how he run that compound. Why? Because they said that somebody who used to work there was on the set and was helping to write that damn story. That's what yes. They said somebody who worked for Tyler was on set with Aaron and them, and that's how that story came about. So they told about him having all these cameras around and carrying on and this, that, and the other, and how it was alluded that he was seducing all the new people that came in who did not know what was up. Okay? So when he sat down there, I believe Tyler was up, because we always thought he was trying to buy TBS because all his shows was on there. TBS is very funny, okay? But he went to them and asked them to take that down and move it. And they refused. And what did he do? He snatched his shows. Because remember, Meet the Browns and House of Pain went out of production for a minute. Then he ended up going over to Oprah, and that's how he got on and took shows over there. Meet the Browns and House of Pain was not in production for a cute little minute because he shut that down to regroup and then brought them back. But TBS, we don't even hear about TBS no more, do we?
Because he ran that town. Period. It's no secret, baby. The man has the secret sauce. I'm not even gonna hold you up. One thing I'm very grateful for is the opportunity to have worked with him and played Vera Brown. I am also very grateful for him inspiring me to want to pursue ownership. And speaking of that, we're gonna have a conversation about it. Tomorrow's topic is one that you don't want to miss. We are going to talk about why Black women have been used in this industry to build billion-dollar companies, but we're not good enough to have any ownership of any of those companies. And the onus for me, as I mentioned in the Tory Hart interview, is on the brothers like Tyler, like Kevin Hart, like Will Packer, like Byron Allen, like, Ryan Coogler, like, fellas, show your sisters some love out here. I mean, I totally understand that, this whole concept of like, you got to get it how I get it how you live it, get it out the mud. But we know that there are gatekeepers out here preventing a lot of stuff from happening. And I want to encourage Tyler to lean into our community for more than just, well, you know what? I'm going to get into my wrap up. It's been a minute, but I want him to lean into our community for more than just our stories, right? I want him to have an appreciation for Black women that goes beyond being viewers and adding to the bottom line of these streaming platforms and being the number one consumers and the eyeballs and shit. I want these men to step up and create more opportunities. I'm sorry, let me do this real quick. Our brother Meech just fell out. I want our brothers to step up and create more opportunity for Black women to not just become millionaires because we're hired to do a job, but to become successful and to become millionaires because we are given or not given, we are not blocked from having the opportunity to have ownership of the shit that we create. Period. Plain and simple as this. Tommy Jones says Tyler Perry became a target when he said at the BET Awards that he's made more Black people millionaires. Now, I've heard people say that, but I'm gonna say that I think that it is. Sorry about that. I'm going to say I've heard people say that, but I think it's something that has probably been going on for much longer than just the most recent BET Awards. I think, him buying army bases and, him just being this incredibly successful, super wealthy Black man is definitely cause for intimidation from some people. But I just want to say this real quick. First of all, can we please get a huge round of applause and a DJ horn for Meech and Lauren. Will y'all come back and hang out with me again? Meech, they loving both of y'all. Such great commentary. What say you two?
Oh, honey, talking is a hobby, honey. This is my shit, honey.
We talking about Black women and Hollywood. That is my niche. That's my jam. So of course I'm here for that conversation.
And chat, are y'all feeling Meech and Lauren? You guys, you will be able to. Oh, Meech, you're in a stationary place? Okay, I could take the cover off. Hold on, let's reveal. Wait, we taking the cover off. Ta-da! There he is. I just didn't want to run the risk of, he's driving. I want him to be distracted. When we see ourselves on camera, we be busy kind of looking and fidgeting and whatnot. So he is in a stationary place. What you have added to this conversation is phenomenal. Both of you. So grateful. This is the Detroit Connection. 313, baby. This is 313 in the ATL in 313. You feel me? So chat, put some hearts in the chat if y'all loved this conversation and if you felt like you got a lot of good information from our panelists. Tomorrow, I really want to unpack what is happening in Hollywood with gatekeeping and preventing us from really being able to share our stories and our narratives, because I do believe that if Tyler Perry felt like it was, and not just Tyler, I think there are a lot of people in the entertainment industry who have either taken the position that my sexuality is not your business, and protecting their privacy at all costs, which I'm not mad at. And there are people who are afraid. And I know that because I know people, Meech and I went to high school together, and all throughout high school, I talked about Tillis. Yeah. Which we're going to get into that a little bit too. We have a whole film, Social Conflict, where we talk about male victims of SA. And I know that it feels in this conversation, which as the days progress, our perspectives may change because it's still early in this trial. But I know that it feels in this conversation that we kind of collectively have felt like Diddy does not deserve life yet. We have not heard anything that makes us feel like he deserves a life sentence. and that Tyler Perry situation could in fact be a money grab, right? And Shannon Sharp, bro, we look, you got the warning, brother. So we don't know what's going on over there. We're gonna keep tabs on that. But I want to be very clear in saying that we are not victim shaming. I do know people are real victims out here, and there are real horrible things that happen, and the victims are not always women. So I don't want Mr. Dixon, who was fearless enough and brave enough to step up and say, I was treated inappropriately. I felt in fear of this or that. The intimidation of not having your job is a real thing. Like I said, Tyler intimidated the shit out of me. And the threat of me not having my job was a real threat too. So as I go through and I read certain things in this claim, some of it I can say, well, I mean, and well, you know what I mean? But does that rise to criminality? I believe Shannon and Tyler, somebody asked earlier if it was civil or criminal. And I think both of those cases right now are civil. Where can we watch the full version of Social Conflict? Hey, L Perry TV. I will post this. You know what I'm going to do after this live? I will run the full version of Social Conflict on our channel. It is in the member section, but we're building the channel. And all I ask is that if you watch it and you enjoy it, that you hit like and you go tell a friend that they need to also join WIRF.TV YouTube channel. So like, y'all, we are well over 2 hours. This is a long ass live, but I feel like it was filled with a lot of really positive information. Lauren, tell the people where they can find your sexy ass and what you got going on, girl.
Well, thanks for the person who complimented my earrings earlier. Represent Detroit all day, every day, because that's where I'm from. That's my heart, my home, my happy place. You can find me at LB Productions. Season 3 of my podcast I'll be filming very soon, where we'll be talking about politics. Season 1 was about season 2 was about double standards, and season 1 was about colorism. So go check it out. It's on YouTube. lbproductions.com is my website.
And Meech?
Well, all right. Let me see. Y'all follow me here on YouTube. That's going to be the safest place. Follow me here on YouTube at Big Meech and the number one. That's BIGMEACH and the number one. I got Facebook and all those other things, but I'm trying to build this YouTube page up because my show, Dishing Tea with Big Meech, we're going to be 16 years old come July 1st. So So that is what's going on. Plus, last year for our 15th anniversary, we went Blog Talk Radio went defunct, right? So what we did was we started our own radio station. So we are powered by live365.com. So if you go there, you can go to WTEA Radio, honey. WTEA. Okay, what's T, baby? Okay. And there you can find, honey, we're 24 hours. We got music. We got some of my old shows that carried on playing over there with my brother station, WAHR. That's Atlanta Hot Radio. Sometimes we do a takeover and all that kind of jazz. But also, you'll find information because I live in College Park, which is where the airport is. And I'm running for city council here. This year.
He said he's running for city council of College Park. So if you're College Park and you work for city council, y'all show up for my boy.
Okay, so yeah, I live in Ward 2, so I'm running for council of Ward 2. So if you follow me, honey, you'll find a way to put $5 on that. I'll send y'all the link. Put $5 on it because we trying to get this thing together. And
Meech, what's your Cash App? I'll make sure that I put your Cash App in the description after this.
My Cash App is $Big Meech, BIGMEACH 7109. Yeah. And there is that. So those are some of the things we got going on.
You said, hold on, $Big.
Yeah, BIG.
BIG. MEACH.
MEACH 7109.
7109. I'm adding it right now so people can take a look and they can share. Uh-oh, I don't know what just happened. I just kind of screwed up our boxes a little bit. Let's start this thing over. Here, boom, L Boogie and Big Meech. Here we go. Okay, so there is Meech's Cash App. We will make sure that we're able to list Lauren's as well. I want to thank you guys, Lauren and Meech, for coming in and hanging out. I love intelligent perspectives on all the crazy shit that is happening out here in these streets. I'm going to do my outro and wrap this thing up, but you will see us back here tomorrow. I'm going to try to get here at 10 o'clock. If not, we going to be here at 10:30. Thank you, Meech. Thank you, Lauren. And y'all sit tight for a second so we can wrap this up. So tonight's show has been really informative. I am so grateful that I have such smart friends. Tonight wasn't just about scandals or salacious headlines. It was about something deeper. It was about power, perception, and the price of visibility. We looked at Tyler Perry, a man who has built an empire from scratch, now facing accusations that threaten to tear it all down. Is this justice unfolding, or is he being made an example of by people who feel like maybe he has too much success and the wrong color skin? We also talked about Diddy. We examined the ultimate party king, because everybody who knows Diddy knows that he was a big party king, baby. And now he's on trial for allegedly hurting a lot of people. His lifestyle has turned into something criminal. And you just have to ask yourself, was it consensual chaos? Was it control masquerading as culture? Like, what the hell was it? And then we talked about Shannon Sharpe, who's a man who saw the storm coming, got warned by Monique, got warned by Cat Williams. And listen, we said a tsunami is coming. And now he finds himself in the same tide. Was it prophecy? Was it premonition? Who knows? Was it karma? Who knows? This isn't just the fall of men. It's the unraveling of an industry built on silence, gatekeeping, and the illusion of invincibility. That's a real thing. And if we're honest, the fall has been a long time coming. But here's the bigger question. After the fall, who gets to rebuild? And will the next empire in Black entertainment look any different? I'm Nicci Gilbert Daniels, baby. NGD if you're nasty in this mother. And I am enjoying hanging out with you guys each and every night at 10:30 p.m. for Nights with Nicci. We are not here to cancel. We are not here to confront. Same time tomorrow, same truth, same crown. Because at WIRF TV, content is queen. Or king, depending on who you are. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us tonight. Make sure y'all watch the playback and tell somebody, boo. All right, peace.